Hi, everyone. I just wanted to talk a little bit about characteristics of living things, and it might be easier to do it via video so that we can all look at it together because our classes are split and the discussions can be so different in the two different classes. So, just running down the characteristics again. Any living thing is made of cells. It reproduces its own kind. You know, a tree will have a baby tree. A person will have a baby person. It grows and develops from very small to bigger to its full size. It obtains and uses energy. This refers to food. Food can be different for different organisms, but it has to obtain energy and then use that energy for a process or processes. Maintains homeostasis, which is the internal optimal conditions, perhaps temperature, perhaps amount of food energy, perhaps amount of sleep versus wakefulness. It will maintain homeostasis. It will respond to the environment. For instance, when a tree's leaves change colors and drop off because it's getting cold and the sun is getting slanted, it can no longer produce enough energy within the tree to keep those leaves alive. So they drop off so that the trunk can remain alive during the cold winter. And then in the spring, when the sunlight signals and the temperatures signal it again that the sun's coming back, it will sprout new leaves. We also respond to the environment. Any living thing does. The Venus flytrap pictured responded to the fact that there was a lizard on it. So an organism is any living thing. All right. So those are the 5 things. I wanted to go quickly through this that we did. So we've got our 5 columns here: made of cells, reproduces, grows and develops, obtains and uses energy, and responds to the environment. There was a lot of differences in what people marked here, and I thought we'd go through it. For rocks are not made of cells. They do not reproduce. They do not grow and develop. They do not obtain and use energy, but they do respond to their environment. If a sun's shining on it, it gets warmer. If snow falls on it, it gets colder. But it doesn't make it alive. It only does one thing. Wood, in this case, I'm talking about wood that's already been cut down from the tree and made into a table or made into a chair. It is made of cells because it was once alive, but that wood can't reproduce, grow and develop, obtain and use energy. I guess it could respond to the environment in the same way that a rock does. It could get colder and warmer. It's possible you could put an X there. The frog is alive. Obviously, it has all 5 of those. A leaf is a portion of a living organism, but it's not the organism itself. So for me, it is made of cells. It does grow and develop. It does obtain and use energy, and it does respond to the environment, but it doesn't reproduce. The tree will reproduce, but not the leaf. Worms, living things, all 5 checked. Humans, all 5. Cactus, all 5. Water. Water's obviously not alive, but it really does some interesting things. So it's not made of cells. Reproduces, I guess it depends on your definition of reproduce. Like, does rain falling into a lake mean that it's reproducing? But it doesn't reproduce in the sense that we think of reproduction. It doesn't grow and develop, but it definitely obtains and uses energy. Anyone who has watched waves build out on the ocean or on a lake sees that it can obtain and use energy, and it definitely responds to the environment. But once again, only has 2 out of the 5, so it's not alive. A robot, it can obtain and use energy. You can plug it in. It can respond to the environment if you program it to do so. Grass is alive. It has all 5 characteristics. Trees, an elk, which is, I don't know if elks are in every country, but they're certainly here in America and here in Utah. A book. Why is a book made of cells? Well, it's pressed wood. And so that the cells from the wood remain in it. So the book is made of cells, but it doesn't do anything else. A bicycle. Well, if you're pushing it, it obtains and uses that energy, but nothing else. Bacteria, alive, it does all the things. So now mule is the tricky one. Why is it marked like this? Well, a mule is a cross between a horse and a donkey. When a horse breeds with a donkey, you get a mule. It is a living creature. It can grow and develop. It is definitely made of cells. It eats and it works. It obtains and uses energy. It definitely responds to its environment. But because it's two different species, a horse and a donkey that have bred, it cannot reproduce. A mule cannot mate with a mule. The only way to get new mules is to mate more horses and donkeys. So by this technical definition, is a mule actually alive since it can't reproduce? Well, if we think of it that way, there are some humans that can't reproduce, some dogs, some cats, some of any living creature. So instead of looking at it at the individual level, we have to look at it at the species level. Can the species reproduce? And so we're going back a step. Horses can reproduce, donkeys can reproduce, and obviously a horse and a donkey together can reproduce. So the mule is alive, but it can't reproduce. So I thought that I would share those answers with you so that you could have a little more insight into what makes something alive.